The Guardian and the Green Socialist Tories worked together to crush the rebellion started by a number of Conservative MPs against Boris Johnson's net zero. Oh yeah, it's a sign of bad times when the Guardian and a faction of the Tories are essentially supporting each other. Yeah, Boris Johnson's net zero is a big debate. We have a number of Conservatives who are challenging it, saying, well, should there be urgency from the UK government side, considering the progress we've made when it comes to clean environment compared to India, Saudi, and a number of other places around the world? Secondly, should we talk about the consequences of radical policies, instant radical socialist policies, using government intervention? There is a movement, the Net Zero Scrutiny Group inside Parliament, led by people like Esther McVeigh and Steve Baker, and that's growing every single day. And this the establishment, who already have their campaign group, is called Government. That's it. They have decided to start a new campaign group using some old existing organizations. And that's why The Guardian is supporting them. Of course, The Guardian is going to support the establishment Tories. Most Conservative MPs support net zero, according to a Tory environment group written by The Guardian. Now, this Tory environmental group is the Conservative Environment Group. Now, this is, again, it was established to have debates about the environment, but it's completely filled with propaganda. You got all the Tory ministers, you got Sajid Javid, you got Tracy Coffey, and a number of others who just come and go. So they're influential. They could get big guests, government ministers, to go to their events, and so that's lovely. But then they don't really talk about the other side. So echo chamber, well done. Secondly, we got all this the new group inside Parliament as well, who are trying to counter the challenge that they're receiving from the Net Zero Scrutiny Group. This is the Steve Baker group. That they're trying to say, well, nobody is saying that we shouldn't do anything about anything. But let's have a rational discussion about the urgency. As we said, there are other countries that should be, let's just say, doing more. Secondly, let's have an honest conversation about, are we going to die in 8 months' time? Or is it 2 years? Or do we have time? Because the propaganda has gone too far. And thirdly, the solution. Free market capitalism as opposed to government socialism. And this group is going with intervention. And it's led by a very, very young guy. You look at him, he looks 12. And I'm sure he's talented. I'm sure he's lovely. Jack Richardson, who's leading this group, one of the kind of main people behind it. And they've written this thing in The Guardian. Richardson himself said that the overwhelming majority of Tory politicians understood the necessity and potential benefits offered by rapid reduction in emissions. So what do you mean, Mr. Richardson? He says, well, net zero is not only about staving off the worst consequences of climate change. Yeah, I mean, that's what you sold us. You said that you guys, when you came up with the whole idea of net zero, you said we're just doing it to save the planet, even if humans die. Sure. And then they say, well, it actually would deliver high-paid, skilled jobs across the UK through a new green industrial revolution. It's not really an industrial revolution when it's controlled by the government. Government jobs and government-subsidized public jobs, they're not real jobs. Any job, public sector jobs, they're not real jobs in terms of the true definition of market employment. I'm not saying that there's no value to being a teacher or a nurse. Not talking about that. Talking about in terms of the economy. Because, of course, if the government taxes you and they're using tax money to create a job, and then when you work as the employee, then they tax you again. And they're using tax money to give you the money back. That cycle is just nonsensical, as opposed to wealth creation, as opposed to those who just create private jobs and private businesses. Then they pay tax to the government. Then the government could use that for safety net. But if you created a new industrial revolution based on jobs that are created by the government or subsidized by the government, that's not real revolution, is it, Mr. Richardson? It said, they try to lie to you, the Tory side. They say, well, we need to do it fairly. Let the market lead. Do you actually mean that? No, because that's the whole point of Steve Baker's group, the Net Zero Scrutiny Group, to expose you guys for lying, saying that you want the market solution, but you're not actually doing it, are you? When you have government subsidizing all these industries and big green lobbies knocking on the door number 10, you're being exposed. The whole thing is nonsensical and it's Keynesianism on steroids, and you wonder why nothing is happening. You get together, COP26, And I'm not surprised that even people like Greta Thunberg are finding it frustrating, saying that, well, even I'm not going to bother to go to COP26 because they just sit there, politicians, for a few days, and of course they also increase the pollution. That was lovely, and then they just have a meeting about having a meeting, then to have a meeting in the future, just talking and talking and talking. Nothing gets done, and this is not how you solve problems. Allow the market, actual market, to solve the problems and empower individuals to do it. Economy and wealth creation should be priority rather than your political ideology. I don't care about your ideology. I care about the truth. We are here. We're going to be exposing them more often. We're going to come back, as I said earlier, a few more updates tonight, a few more videos, especially on Alex Belfield, the YouTuber, being cancelled by this platform. We're going to discuss that later tonight. So make sure to subscribe. I know I say it all the time, but it is very important now more than ever. If you want to stay up to date with all the videos, click on the bell next to it. That's the best way to get notified. Otherwise, the videos don't really get recommended. Subscribing is not enough anymore these days. So subscribe, bell on my Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Why? Because we are the media.